no mistake, the Blair boys are going to start right in the middle of the ground. That's Jared and Jack, of course. Wouldn't be surprised if Lindsay's the other one, and that is the case. And the Ruckman start things off as he is. I was just calling him young, but I think he's getting a little bit older as he goes by. Maybe he's Tom Hooper giving a rough ball.
That's right, Darryl. Callum's been Premier Rugby League for many years, and I'm sure he's
the Latrobe forklifts and Wacanoisin. They are about to get the first quarter action underway here at the Wonthaggi Rec Reserve. Towards the interlock end of the ground, Wonthaggi towards the city end. There'll be Hooper and the Callum who goes up. Callum's nearly got a hand on it. Blair was there. That's Jared. Along the way with Lindsay. And the umpire will say, let's do this one again. You can get some desperation around the ball early before they start to find some open space. Good tap by McCallum, trying to get the open space there. Who's trying to get a handful away. Picked up by Drouin's there, Harry Wands. And again, got the ball up. One more time again in the middle of the ground. This time Hooper tapped it down to Lindsay. Got a handle out to Blair. He squeezes one backwards there. Back to his teammate in Hayes. Got towards the top of the 50. Ferguson swings around right foot. First forward 50 entry for the power. And a free kick when he carries and it's Troy Harley directly in front. 35 metres out, and Harley should go back and put this through the breeze boxer.
Yeah, it's far across the ground, scoreboard side too, Darryl, so it's going to be a couple of positions, right by post, swing it in, make sure it's got much more.
Well, a nice start for Harley, too, big body boy, looks okay, 25 metres out directly in front. Should nail it, not bread and butter, but easy enough. Off the boot, Wonthaggi gets that ball, one start for Wonthaggi. Season 2021 officially underway, the first score of the season. The big fella himself in Troy Harley.
I love the way they did the ball out conversion, showed a little bit of toe, and just a turn on the fence. Ball inside the Harley. It was playing in front, great ball play. The umpires are pretty hot to play over the body there too, and great kick in the breeze. Great stuff for Wonthaggi.
Yeah, first look at the Gulby Corporate scoreboard at the almost 2-minute mark in this first quarter. Wonthaggi 1 goal straight, 6 during the
What a nice little build up. Ferguson started across that half forward, as we said. The work out, tap from Blair has done in the middle of the ground just to get things going the Power's way. Callum and Hooper, lock horns again. Still a good battle this afternoon. The experience of Bob, he's been around for a fair while, but still certainly got some leak left in his legs. Got a hand of this one. Quickly there was Robinson, he got wrapped up, gave it Blair, nice little handball to Lindsay, quickly tackled by Morris, he's spinning around, he got him good. The ball, couldn't mark it there, was O'Connor at ground level. Ferguson again, well he's small, he's lively, the junior boys of the Power told us to look out for it, but he's pondered early, he goes to the grandstand side, looking for the target again, going back to make play back, and they don't, big snap, what was great by Wonthaggi is that the ball is real quick. The balls are playing in front, the ball's dropping to the ground, and from the biggest place inside that, it's a great goal for the ball. Very good dance, but that's a green start for the team.
And the Gulby Corporate scoreboard reads at the 3-minute mark in the first quarter, 2 goals straight, 12 points. Wonthaggi during the scoreboard.
You have to remember too, at the start of the season, 2008, and House on fire as well. Those guys down there as well, so good to see Harley do this next through.
They go again, this time McCallum cuts it straight down to Robertson, right foot kick inside forward 50, the Hawks go. Bray was there for the Power to spoil. There's Wonthaggi Powers leading the charge out there. Stephen Scott was the one, paddles it towards the boundary line. He can't quite get it out there with Tommy Barr for the Hawks. We'll have a boundary throw in some 60 metres away with the first forward thrust for the Hawks.
It's good to see that Drouin now really got the two good and hand it off as well. Two big targets. It was their first inside 50 of the game too.
So McCallum reads the ball well, short throw in it was, he gets front position, doesn't get the ball though, and nicely cleared by the Power, out of side half forward flank, nice take two. That could be Lindsay that took the mark, he plays on quickly, left half forward, inside 50. Harley's looking for his third grab and a nice take over the top. And he's not going to have to play here and this. Basically track him down, goes towards the outer side looking for Chris Robertson, but he's on the books.
feet from the ball by the boundary. In front of the scoreboard that leads the home side Wonthaggi 2 straight goals and draws into score.
Poppy, I'll tell you what happened is we had Michael Peter Reed was in number 9. He's changed to the 53. Number 9, I'm not too sure exactly to get that through at the moment. We'll see the guys down to have a look at the rules this for us. Meanwhile, we tap it over. Nice little tap out the back to the Hawks. They can't quite capitalise. The free kick was going in the way of the Hawks. So they claimed the advantage. I think it was Timmy Barr who kicked it towards half forward. Good little score over the back from the power on their half back mate. They're outnumbered. But a nice little handball there. Off from Lenahan. It goes again. The umpire said strong work by Josh Williams. Don't like it. The umpire said gets up and ball it up.
John Kenny in your hands on fire. Look like he's pretty well possessed. The way to start. Jordan was enthusiastic, but I don't know that it was within the rules, but playing was the call. There's their opportunity to go forward through top bar. Handball more hope than anything else, and Powell threw their way through nicely. Josh Schultz. I'm talking about Drouin Kelly. The entrance inside 50-1 contest, taken the ground nicely. It was done by Ryan Taylor. Races on. It just spills outside 450 of Wonthaggi. Kicked off the ground nicely. It was by Solder. It's cut off again. Cut off nicely. It was by Wonthaggi. Now they've got a stuff left half forward flank. Wonthaggi to attack, but only momentarily. Draw to burn the free kick to the goal post. Wonthaggi's on top. Under pressure. Under pressure. Bailey Beck comes inboard on that 45 kick towards Tommy Barr. He swings around left foot and nice kick. Found Todd Beck. He's about 55 metres out to the wheel and go. The new member of the Lark rule is in here. He gets that lead, kicks that ball line. Directly in front of it. Great to see it. And a 50-metre penalty to the shot. That's great. He uses his body well. Great kick in. Strong side. Toss. And Leo Maridi.
Scoreboard is a 7-point lead in Wonthaggi at the 7-minute mark of this quarter. Wonthaggi now 2 goals straight 12. Drouin now 1 goal.
Would it be a well, I'm going to call Chief and Bacon Dorito because he's just come off the tongue last week. He's just looking at him. Look at the bulk of that. He's a strong lead. I'll tell you what, they can do one-on-one. Pretty hard. The strong nice take that was. Couldn't get his forward in touch. Mother! For a wee forklift and a whack and noisy. They go to the middle again. McCullum runs it out of the ruck. Then just goes up and there was there. That was a Jack Variety. Leaves it out. Nice little kick by that time. Tom Murray. Deep inside forward 50. Again nearly marking that one was Harley who dropped it. Now Drouin. I don't know what the down Drouin. The Kelly was close. Looked like the hands were low. The umpire said it was going there. But the boundary was throwing up. Troy Harley's called it a double free kick. Right, so at the intersection of 450 and boundary for Wonthaggi, as you know, they're kicking to the right of radio or the city end. There's a free kick in that ruck contest from the boundary from him. It will go during time and off the ball. Yes, they change directions. Where the wind will hold it across the ground. And what was they've lost that contest. The receiver of the free kick will be Timmy Knowles. So Timmy Knowles, looking over his shoulder, there's 50-55, but you know what, he might give this a bit of a dash because with the wind behind him, he's starting to go short to the pocket to Harley. And Harley's like, give him the ball. They lead by 6 points at the moment, Durden Power. Harley's got both their goals. A really tight angle, only 40 metres out, and right to left.
Lead at the 9-minute mark of the first quarter. LB Hawks the scoreboard 2-1-2.
Starting to put on the spike.
119, Wonthaggi, this one
Dangerous not to do this, go get him. Cross the ball against the brain. Not something you've got to go away from the game. Stanley goes in the rough for the foul. They get the clearance. Then on the back there was from Murray. Good kick by Lindsay inside forward 50. Goes for Murray. Gray. Quite mark this one. We've got the numbers. Now he's strong there for O'Connor. Overrunning that ball. Now do well. Jones looks in for him. Left foot drill on the ground. They're really falling forward. A little bit higher to get on target. He's too deep at the moment, and it's just easy cherry picking for the power. Let's win it! Giving him inside 50, he's built and scoring every time they go.
19 points lead on the other scoreboard. Wonthaggi 4, 125. Drouin 1 goal, 6 weeks play for South
Are we able to change it?
No, we have 17 points popping.
Very close. All right, here we go. First quarter. It's like quarter by quarter. It's just
Here we go, the big fella McKellar up against Tamahuda, and neither got a real clear touch on it. Nice tackle, good hard work. Quick hit. Good boy,
Back good score over the top there was from Lindsay, that's Riley. One of the whistle. We keep going foul away. I wonder get the liquid with it. They're just a bit rattled there, and I see 3 kicks. He has it in the centre square, drives it inside forward 50. No one can stop him at the moment. Carly takes another contested mark. Inside 50. They lead at the moment 4-125, Drouin 1-6. The problem is he's got 2. Kick from about 49 metres. Runs around. The umpire doesn't call play on. Doesn't matter. Oh, he's got 3. He's on fire in the first quarter. All thanks to LB Forklift in the weapon lines of the
on the game. They go offline, they hit it fully on the mark again, to stop the kick. So the umpire, please call John Blair gets the ball out of the centre, and the teammate who was taken, but tackled beautifully and dropped the ball. So he got a Kenny Morris. Just short of 1.5 forward. Wonthaggi numbers have pushed back. Putting to his forward just around the tree, goes there, there he is. Shut up! They just seem to be working harder than Wonthaggi at the moment. Play on's the call by the umpire. Dodges around, doesn't get, goes short, points to teammate again, Luke O'Connor. He looks at his options, he has to go along the line with the management, and he does that, pops the ball up, coming from the back, he's beaten to it, the ball holds up nicely, goes to the back of the bar, he looks at the left foot, centre, to find the teammate, and that's That's number 9 player. We'll find out who that is during the course of the quarter. Let me tell you, he's had 3 touches. Unfortunately, I've been calling every time he's got the ball. This bloke I do know, and that's Blair. Jack's plays up quickly. Goes towards the left half forward flank and races on.
Gets it out towards Jordan Staley, the 2 number 16. Ryan Taylor is a Hawk. He goes tries to squeeze it out towards Miller as well. Now Taylor has to put a tackle on it, the big fella in Staley. And a stalemate. All up will be 55 metres out time at Wonthaggi's goal.
The thing about Wonthaggi, I just watched them off the ball as well. They really set up hard, they press wide, the ball's inside the defensive dignity. And that just proved because the ball pushed out wide, they had 2 numbers across the ball, and they went outside that game.
The lead by 25 points, working hard at ground level there was Ferguson. Further about, little side step by Blair, then Selson more Candy, and the outside of the boot, got it towards the teammate. Hayes goes towards Harvey again. He's taken another one. Wonthaggi's kicked 5, and Troy Harvey has 3 of them. He has another shot for goal. It's only 16 minutes into this first quarter.
Not kick from here. Probably worse than 45. Goes short there, boxing. Can he find a teammate? Not that he can. Guess what? It's his teammate, James. Short. Left forward pocket. He's within a distance, but he'll be kicking into the teeth of the guns. He got up that AFL just a moment. Boxer. Off the mark, off the foot, goes across the face of goal, punches the ground right on the float on the ground, he waits and they face it on that. Someday, we'll go upstairs in the afternoon. I'll tell you what, Boxer,
one of the things that really people are doing right now is having a local the smallest bloke in the forward pocket for Ferguson is responsible for Callum Berg and 3 Wonthaggi players bouncing. And they just keep the ball really good. What they had is already hit towards the ground. So hopefully Jordan King can reset very quickly.
Callum's hitting the ruck kid is nice, but Meadow just looking at this around the floor, squeezing the ball out. Hayden Lindsay is top of that before they go. There they go again. Little hand up there. Was from the draw defender. Coming the other way.
Yeah, lovely. Good. Come on, Cal. Settle, Gravy, settle.
Inboard kick to Murray, plays on quickly. Just shooting it, gets it to the far outside of the Wonthaggi West Reserve. Twin Amps will take their mark. Forward power. Gets it to a teammate in Manningham. He drives towards half forward. It's been clinical so far. Drouin haven't touched it. Davey gets the 50, delivers. Chance boxer. Wonthaggi has, I'd say, 10 touches in that passage of play, and they really didn't touch it once.
He spoke about the way they're structured. They're very well disciplined as well. Quick snapshot for the half back line. Really
Tough kick from here though, win straight in his face. Lockie Ferguson. They lead by 31. Do they extend the margin by a point? They do. It's a minus score. Melbourne fought the scoreboard and whack and roll. 6-2-38 Wonthaggi at
Number 9, walked up to the other, goes into a teammate, along the line, left half, back to left hand forward, can he find the teammate? Well, he should have. Drop was Tim Sandcott, so now people will attempt to make them pay and runs around the ball.
Hold it!
He comes in right and held the ball, so next 50-50 contest again. Just short of
What's up?
Straight down the big chase, He drives the centre half forward, over the top of the head there with Lenihan. He's got support though. The power's got plenty of numbers. Kick out wide from trying to go down to the ground. Found Murray. His left foot kick goes out wide. This time it's looking for Ferguson, but far side, that would be reserved. He's 1-3, 28 1 straight 6. Season opener right here on Mara, into the Gippsland League. 21 minutes first.
Latino's name sort of taken up on social media, doesn't it? That board flank, McCallum taps it forward game 10 metres and he finds a Wonthaggi player. He's taken to the ground so that we ain't ball up just to the right hand side of the radio. And Wonthaggi to attack. He's busy. He's got 3 on the board. Jones has 1. He's done Lachlan Ferguson and Tom Davey. For Drouin, it's the sole goal scorer. It's not Doritas. Around the ball, no, take it off it. Eddie Morris, who edged it forward, but didn't gain too much. Or for Tom Murray to cut it off, and he was taking ball and all. That'll be a free kick, a much needed one to Drouin's Eddie Morris.
He's looking at the midfield is quite strong, but he's got a little bit more support. Morris's kick out wide, don't drop him back nicely. Knowles back there. Tate Smart comes inboard this time finds Jack Blair. Next defensive 50. He's got a number out wide, but if you go to it, it's a nice little knee kick just over the top note of Shannon Bray. And another down from right in front of the scoreboard here at Wonthaggi, which leads 1-6-2, 38, 1 straight 6. Back one's dominating the moment. Yeah, control the balls as well. They're the whole lot. They get a good option to move to. That kick was just put away, but otherwise it played it. He could grab it out of the rump, he dropped it, and tried to kick it off the ground, and Callum sat on it.
I think Asian they haven't tried to force it forward, they've kicked their way through, it's gone angled or changed patterns. There's no maturity, he hasn't seen from one thing, in fact, he probably hasn't seen it in the last 4 games of the last season.
Morris from the stoppage round the body, not going back. On his own, Tim Knowles. He'll lose a little bit of structure in their forward half. He comes on board. Ferguson O'Connor kicks it out wide to Bray. He switches again. We've already done this once.
Hold, Salt.
Kick out towards Scott.
Sorry.
This time, hold him up. So they've learned a little bit of a lesson. Just because Tim Knowles dropped it. Drouin accounts on it. He gives it off for goal to Reece Soul to the captain. No one at home. The ball goes across the face of the goal and will be a bounty throwing. 5 minutes around from their point post. They trail the Hawks by 32 points in this opening quarter of the Gippsland League.
Drouin is throwing a 5th on ball right now at the moment too, so it's freed up a lot of that. They have to stop it. They have to stop it. I mean, somehow the boundary throwing is there, and when it comes to the umpire calls it back. It's up with it.
I'll tell you what, if you're interested in getting involved in footy, become an umpire, because they are looking for a little bit of support.
Free kick to Drouin, much needed free kick within a touch of goals. It'll be Quinn Anderson. In fact, it will be Callum Tyler. I apologise, Callum Tyler. But Drouin, you know where that this is a much needed goal. He's the interstate of 2021 off the boot. looks as though he's pushed it right. It's another score, but it's a score nonetheless.
Dominant. 6 goals to 38, leading Drouin at quarter time, 1-7 at the Troy Harley show, up forward, front pedal that's come his way, he kicked 3 goals, now on top right, 31 points, you're listening to Gippsland Live, coming here from the Wonthaggi Reserve, and it is all thanks to Harley Royal Electrical, it's 5% back, it is Harley Royal Electrical, build on that, thank you, hang on. Hey, mate.
Not too much of them looking up, I don't know, some of them maybe yell at them. You're the coach, man, you're the one who's
Thank you.
Drouin 117, Paul Carter with all the key stats thanks to Gippsland Isuzu.
Inside 50s, Wonthaggi's way 13.7, clearance is 10.6 to the power, centre clearance is 7.1 to the power, despite the fact that Bob McCallum has had the better of the hit outs. Free kicks have gone Drouin's way 7.4, marks Wonthaggi 27 to Drouin 8, contested marks 5.2 Wonthaggi's way, marks inside 50 5.1 Wonthaggi's way, score from set shots 2-2 to 1-1 Wonthaggi's way. Wonthaggi have had 2 goals from turnovers and 2 other goals from stoppages. The leading stat winners at the moment, we have Tom Murray, Jared Blair and Jack Blair, all on 5 disposals for Wonthaggi, and it's 4 for Eddie Morris leading the way from Drouin. Bob McCallum.
They crumb like an absolute thief and kicks and goals at the same time as well.
Yeah, they've got some height and they've got some pace inside that forward 50, so you're always going to have a contest, and when you haven't got the ball, you're always going to be under pressure because of that pace.
I just hope the message now from Kingy all the time there to Drouin, because Bobby's winning everything in the middle. They need to go one-on-one early, just so they get on top in that midfield, so they can work through it.
It was always about winning the contest. I heard Jordan Kingy attacking the troops, win the contest, get your hands on the ball.
Do you think the scoring ends to the right as we look at it?
Well, you know, we'll have a better indication, won't we, in 25 minutes' time, but it's actually hard to pick. I thought, like Boxer said, more across the ground.
Yeah.
Well, second quarter is about to get underway. Gippsland Live on TRFM. Hootha got up high, but McCallum read it better. Tapped it out, nicely done by Blair. This is Jared. Swings around, right foot kick towards the wing area. Out in the front of Tom Davey, who can't mark it. Clayton Kingy comes in for the Hawks across defensive half-back flank. Holds things up. Looks over the top he goes. Nice little knee kick to his teammate in Jackson Koss. Inboard kick to Morris. Sliding on his knees and takes the chest mark.
Just need more from Morris as well.
Morris delivers inside 50 over McCallum's head. Hootha can't mark. McCallum did well. Got a boot to ball. It bounces over a couple of defenders there from Wonthaggi, but Bray was there to mop things up. Little kick out towards the top of the defensive 50. Lindsay gave it off to is Riley Lindsay. Then a quick handball to Jack Blair. Drives it half forward in the direction of Troy Harley. Couldn't quite get it. And Sam Pratt was happy to see it go over. No, they keep it in. Little quick chain of handballs there from the Hawks. Still fighting very close to the boundary line. Eventually over it goes. And we'll have a boundary throw in.
If I was coach, I'd be very frustrated. Wonthaggi did it in the first quarter. Even, let's say it's probably not against the breeze, but probably the non-favourable ground. They just had that spare man back. So they're with ease. They just dropped one back in the hole, picking it off and winning the ball out pretty easily.
Well, you know, on that occasion there, Wonthaggi were outnumbered 2-5, and they fought desperately to keep the ball in the area. Moments ago, the ball just spat out of Drouin's forward 50 too easily. You know, you work hard to get into that forward 50. You've got to be murdered before you let that bloody thing out when you're trailing by 5 goals.
You do. We're going to ball up just inside the field of play. McCallum and Hootha again. Hootha tapped it down. Trying to hit it at pace was Blair. Keeps it in, does he? No, not quite. That could have been something special. Big moment for Monticello this afternoon. Jared Blair back in a Wonthaggi power outfit. Wonderful to see. He's going head-to-head with Ed Morris.
So this is what's happening now. They're really pressing up. So even Stephen Scott, the full back of Wonthaggi, is literally in the middle of the ground. His direct opponent's still inside 50. And they're just going to pick it off because their skill level at the moment is not right up to it. And it's just an easy picking for these guys in their zone.
Free kick by the big fella, McCulloch, I think. More out of frustration than anything else. 1 sec. The field umpires having a chat to the boundary umpire. Maybe it came off the boot and out of play, but the field umpires just trying to make sure. Yep, free kick it is, so it's going to go Wonthaggi's way. Kicking into the teeth of a breeze with the boundary on his left side, even though he's on the right side of the goal, so you can imagine how tight this angle is. And he'll kick from 45. Top of the square is probably the option. No, he's made the wind do the work, but it folded left too soon, and there's a out of bounds on the full.
I really am keen to go around the grounds quickly for harming on the furniture. This is a score I really want to read out right now. And it's half time in the AFL, and it's the Sydney Swans 10-10-70. They lead the Richmond Tigers 4-6-30.
Bit of work to do.
Probably the biggest upset in AFL in the last 5 years.
Well,
is brewing right now.
Not happening now. There's a turnover from a kick out here from the Hawks, and Jared Blair has it directly in front. The breeze going from his left to right. And I wouldn't be surprised if the whole Wonthaggi players get to him if he puts this one through. He's a smart player, of course.
Tough kick.
Ex-Collingwood footballer. great local product of the Wonthaggi Power. He'll have to start it just inside, I reckon, the left-hand side point post. He starts it right though, and the breeze pushes it away and goes through for another minor score.
6-3, 39 to Wonthaggi score. They lead by 32 points over Drouin. Well, 117 on the Gippsland Live scoreboard. 4 minutes played in the second quarter.
All right, so they'll bring it back into play and they'll go straight down the guts here at Wonthaggi over, looking for the big man who it won't quite reach him, and out the back and reading it better really was Tamahuda. But he find a teammate he can, and ending up with it is Tom Murray. Inside forward 50, he tries, he threatens, but he's offline and out of play on the full. So Drouin can take a deep breath. They're better than 5 goals down. They're under all sorts of pressure, but now you'll see what you've got, Jordan King.
I mean, there's only been 3 kick-outs so far this afternoon. All 3 times it's played on. All 3 times it's trying to Bob McCullum.
Harry Wan's got a free kick. It's out of bounds.
Risky,
It's a
risky,
switching
risky,
play.
risky.
It hits the deck. They're under a little bit of pressure. McCullough gets a handball across. Nicely done to Sam Pratt. Gives it back to Wands, who gets outside the defensive 50. They play the mark, and that should be 50. Yes, the Drouin supporters reckon it was 50, and it was. He got rid of the football on that occasion, Harry Dawson. The umpire says, come with me.
And I'll be going off Dawson because you knew well and
I tell you what, if you have to take those sort of risks to get out of your defensive 50, you're living life on the edge, let me tell you.
Yeah, get off, mate.
Ryan Taylor has the free kick anyway. He's been paid 50, which was probably about 30. Taylor drives it inside forward 50. The big fellas will fly from the back. No one can mark it. Comes to ground level, trying to crash his way through. Was Drouin wrapped up by a couple of power tacklers, and not going any there on that occasion was Campbell Jolly. So a ball up, 40 metres out.
Now McCullough gets a tap, frustrated that he can't find a teammate. Wonthaggi doing well. Ball within 30 metres of Drouin's goals, and we haven't been that close too often today.
What's incredible too, the ball's inside Drouin's 50, forward 50, and Wonthaggi have more numbers at the ball than what Drouin do. They're prepared to press out, build the wall, and while Wonthaggi's got the numbers around the pack.
Yeah, and they're going to win this one as well, are they? No, held in, so there'll be another ball up, and a 45-degree angle, 25 metres from Drouin's goals. They're now kicking to the Wonthaggi city end of the ground, or the right of your radio. McCullough gets another tap, top of the square. Can he find the big fella? He tries, dodges around beautifully. Can he make them pay? I speak of Theodoros, and he cannot. So he's offline, and another behind, Paul Carter.
And takes Drouin to 1-2-8. They trail by 31 points on the Gippsland Live scoreboard. Wonthaggi at 6-3, 39.
So Wonthaggi about to bring it back in. Play on. Gains an extra 5 metres, thumps it to the middle of the ground, and it's nearly landed in the middle. Well, it actually has, over the back though. Quick kick around the body there from Harry Wands, and standing there taking the mark is Salter, the captain from Drouin. 40 metres out, he'll have to kick it a good 49, 50 metres. And with this wind, he decides to pass it off. He looks for the small Eddie Morris, goes over his head, and taking the mark is Jared Blair, unopposed, who switches it grandstand side. Looks for Staley, can't quite mark it. Running out of the back half now. Nice little knee kick. Oh, tried to clean him up and go for the football. Eyes on it there was O'Connor. They fight for it again. There's a free kick in the back. And it'll go towards Wonthaggi's Josh Bates.
Just that last 90 seconds, just silly mistakes by Drouin. It's just cost them that momentum to get that ball inside 50. Drop marks, sloppy free kicks.
Riley Lindsay has it. He decides to switch. He goes backwards first of all. Found his teammate in Lenihan, goes back to the goal square. And back there is it Scott. He drives it out wide. Did they work for him on the switch? Nice little mark. Harley's come up. No, that was, Knowles that presented. Drives it down towards Ferguson, who couldn't mark it. Numbers favour Hancock. That was from Drouin. Gets it over to Wands. Left foot, little chipping kick over the top is a neat one. And finds Joe Collins. Quickly plays on, go to Wands, back to Collins by hand. Good smother out there from Lockie Jones of the Power, and we'll have a boundary throw in to stop any forward momentum that Drouin were about to build.
Gents, what a pick up is Ferguson is from Wonthaggi. And imagine having a small forward like that that's prepared to work his absolute butt off inside 50, and he's prepared to share the ball as well.
These young junior boys from Wonthaggi were all over this before this game started. They gave us the inside knowledge.
Yeah, he kicked one, he's helped one, and he's worked hard when he hasn't got the ball, so he's got all the ingredients of a good player.
Absolutely.
absolutely. And I think at the moment you can see the style of play that Wonthaggi want to make sure they execute, and they are taught it very well at the moment. These conditions are tough to play.
31 points currently in favour of the Power.
So McCulloch gets a tap down, rode beautifully, and off they go again to the Power. Inside forward 50, can they find a winner? It spills out the back, and Drouin have got the numbers. It looked to be a throw, but player was a call. Harry Wines has got the presence of mind to steady, and can he find a teammate? He can, and they'll work their way out of defensive 50 and find Matt Stevens.
Drives it towards the scoreboard. Big spoil over the back. There was from Knowles of the Power. Little flick under his arm there by Blair, and
Close to the throat.
They did, yep. As Jack was away, and the free kick is going out wide. It looks to be one of their midfielders. For Drouin in bar, drives it down towards over the back Robinson, but now he has his leg pulled, and the umpire, he waited and waited, and eventually now the free kick has been paid. We all saw it.
Yeah, I thought the umpire was pulling our leg.
And Chris Robinson has it half forward flank for the Hawks. There's not much option. Wonthaggi's defence has been fantastic. They got 2 or 3 spare here. They can't go forward, the Hawks, and when they do, it's just going to be repelled. Good little tackle there was from Knowles, but he didn't have the football.
There was a little bit of mayo on that one.
Callum Tyler was the one who put his arms out. He's 55, too far out to score.
Get it 1-on-1.
Goes towards the shallow pocket. Theodorides is the target, couldn't quite mark it.
4-1, he was outnumbered.
Yep, does a bit of groundwork. Handballs out there was from Stephen Scott. Close to the boundary line. Here's Beck. You haven't seen much of the footy today. That was Bailey.
Free kick. Hold the man. Goes to Beck.
That's Todd Beck. Stats for both the Beck boys, Paul Carter.
That's Bailey Beck's third touch for the day, and this will be Todd Beck's third for the day.
A little bit quiet from the Beck's standards, you would have thought. Normally good ball winners. This is a shot for goal. Tough one. Breeze in his face. Much needed chance, but he puts it into the post. And it's a minor score in the Gippsland Live scoreboard.
1-3-9 it takes Drouin. They are 30 points behind Wonthaggi, who are 6-3-39.
You know your back line are really working well together when you see 3 players lag off their direct opponent to go and have the full back out.
Yeah, they're working hard and they're working smarter. Wonthaggi at the moment, it's both. And the pressure's right on. As the big fella there in Matt Stevens takes the ball, he's right on right half forward flank. He wants at the top of the right hand side of the goals, and he kicks, and it's all Wonthaggi again, but roved off the back almost was Theodorides. Picked up nicely. Wonthaggi out of by Blair, just burst through 50, tapped forward by Stevens, and then punched back Wonthaggi's way. Nicely done. Good tackle. Taken to the ground was McCallum. The free kick will go in.
Oh, they've caught advantage. Oh, no. Well, the player stopped, Poppy. He's called advantage. The player had stopped in Tom Davey, and the umpire said, no, you took the advantage.
So the ball up now will be Stevens v Staley. Well, we've got a stalemate right here.
Just like popping a balloon.
Yeah, Mitch Hayes had the ball, but 2 or 3 players had him, so we'll try again. Stevens, no beaten to it this time. Good contest, taken now beautifully was Jared Blair. Free kick will go Drouin's way as Blair was about to burst away.
Been good.
And it will go Bailey Beck. So this is his 4th touch. If you remember, Darts just said they had 3 touches each, the Beck boys, and now Beck might get another. Now free kick. So a little bit sloppy, play on the call, and off goes Blair. Not sure that
he's got a free one.
But Blair doesn't care, and he kicks inside forward 50. Harley's one of 2 players running for the ball. The big other one is Huda. They're both beaten by a Wonthaggi Drouin defender.
Well done, Clayton
They do
Kingy.
it nice, does Kingy, as he finds a teammate in McCulloch. Still inside their defensive 50.
Yeah, it was a great little kick there by Kingy, just to relieve some pressure. As McCulloch kicks towards the boundary line. Big spoil over the back from Staley. Over the top of Cameron McFan. And we'll have a boundary thrown. McFan doesn't like the attention Josh Bates gives him. And they grapple each other's necks or throat area. Something Boxer would be familiar with back at his heyday.
I was clean as they came, Darryl.
Yeah, when someone was looking at you, were boundary throw in. 30 points the margin to the Power. Nice little pick up, good hands to Aidan Lindsay. Sweeps one in the middle of the ground. They can turn and go. Knowles delivers inside forward 50. Where's the target? Out there was Harley. Goes over his head. Chasing it there was Schultz. And we have another boundary throw in, just missing that forward 50 inside target.
So Schultz and Ferguson have got pace at ground level. Harley's been good, and Huda rests down the forward 50 as well. So they're looking okay. With Staley, yeah.
A good structure, isn't it? There you can see early that I think that's what Blair brings. Is certainly structure this side, and defensive-wise, I think they've been really impressed with the way they've been set up. The kick behind the play.
So these ruckmen should have woken up now that these boundary throw-ins are coming in quite shallow. And to have front spot is crucial, and McCulloch's got the experience to know that. Gets the tap, and they get outside of that danger area. They can't. A kick around the body. Don't tell me no. Troy Harley, whose kick free was offline on that occasion, and gets a minus score.
Takes takes Wonthaggi to 6-4-40, a lead of 31 points over Drouin, who are 139. Yet to have a major in this quarter, and we've played 14 minutes.
Just a quick around the grounds, thanks to Harvey Norman Furniture in the qualifying final in the AFLW. It is still Melbourne 4-10-34. They lead the Freo Dockers 3-5-23 deep into the last quarter.
Jordan Kingy had a nice long kick outside defensive 50, found Theodorides. He's a long way out from home. The inboard kick nicely to Todd Beck. Lowers the eyes, finds Robertson. Had to fumble it, and a couple and then missed it. And the ball bobbles around. It lands in the hands of Wonthaggi now, and they clear it out. And it's a nice little neat kick and lands on the chest of Lockie Ferguson, who can chip it over the top. Working hard was Luke O'Connor, and it's set up nicely for him. O'Connor can go over the back. They've got to sit the power. He's under pressure that Ryan Taylor, the defender, does well in the end. It's 2-on-1. Power is the 2. Snap around the body by Schultz. Does it bounce and bounce? I think it does. And to open things up in this second quarter is Josh Schultz of the Power.
Well, what a build-up that was there too. And, one of the things that's really frustrating me about Drouin at the moment is just their skill by foot. I think it's letting them down as well. Take nothing away from Wonthaggi, their pressure's been incredible, but when you have no pressure around you, for metres around you, and you still can't hit up ball for 15 metres and you turn it over, you get damage like that. It was a great build-up by the Power, great goal inside 50 there by young Schultz, and it was a great goal.
37-point lead on the Gippsland Live scoreboard to Wonthaggi at the 15-minute mark of the second quarter. The Power 7-4-46, Drouin 139.
And Wonthaggi burst through 50 again. They've got the numbers around the ball now, cleaned up nicely. It was by Drouin's Bailey Beck. Threatens the 50 before it's taken nicely by O'Connor. Under pressure, gets a kick away, grains 40 metres, and it finds a teammate, O'Connor. No, it goes back to O'Connor again. So O'Connor to right half forward flank.
There is 2 of them.
Tell you what,
Fergus and Luke.
And now this bloke is Davey. He kicks around forward 50. Harley's first play to it. Dodges, goes one way, kicks to the top of the square.
Beautiful kick.
Can he take the mark? He can't, but they've got the numbers. They can walk this in, can they?
Yep,
yes,
they will.
Can. Bang, goal, Blair, beautiful. They're on their way.
That was an incredible build-up there. Harley, when a forward's on, and his kick was incredible. It's unfortunate that Blairy probably wasn't another foot taller because the ball was just a little bit too tall for him. Well, good enough though. It was they outnumbered the Drouin backman, and a great goal there to the Power.
Well said, Boxer. Thanks to Carpet Country, helping dreams become a reality since 1981.
43-point lead to Wonthaggi at the 16-minute mark of the second quarter. Gippsland Live scoreboard, Wonthaggi 8-4-52, Drouin 139.
It was the agility of Troy Harley. Yeah, it was fantastic, wasn't it?
Absolutely brilliant. And look, one thing I want to see Drouin do now, like they're getting smacked across the half-back line, just go one-on-one for a little bit. Just make sure that their opponent, their direct opponent's not easily chipping the ball away.
So we've got a small issue, boys. We've got a small issue.
What's the issue?
We've got no football.
I would think
There'll be a couple of your boot. They keep knocking off.
I think it'd be a
Just
fair.
grab one of those ones.
So there's a lot of players standing around with hands on hips, and there's umpires sort of standing around with a stunned look.
Well, I can quickly go around the grounds. I want to say this score again. It's half-time in the AFL, and it's the young, up-and-coming Buddy Franklin out.
Sorry, Box. I just.
Buddy Franklin less Sydney Swans, and it's 10-10-70. They lead the reigning premiers, Richmond, 4-6-30. So looks like your boss Prestia there too. He's done a pretty bad injury. He's out for the rest of the game as well.
Well, interesting to see how the boys respond there. Here, it is how Drouin will respond. 8-4-52. Drouin a 139, and you're coaching Drouin, Boxer. What would you do?
Like I said, I think it's about time they went man on man right now. I think it's
really important. They're getting picked off everywhere, especially across their half-forward line.
So that's in general play as well?
Oh, I think so too. Their midfielders getting absolutely, pulled to bits.
So we start the game man on man and Wonthaggi dominated.
I was actually going to nominate the coach to go inside the middle, and he's done that himself as well now too. So hopefully gives us that little bit of presence inside middle.
Wonthaggi's pressure is enormous, and Lindsay started that with the tackle as Beck was about to run through and kick the footy, and Lindsay just dropped him.
Sorry, Scott. Paul, you take every stat under the sun. Are we doing tackles as well at the minute? No.
It's too hard for Paul. As Wonthaggi again win this clearance. Bates drives it inside forward 50 again. Harley just over the top of his head. And anywhere that Harley is, Lockie Ferguson is around his feet, and that's a good, smart forward move. I've got other things on my mind at the moment, Box. I'm just trying to carry you through this season opener this afternoon.
What product are you going to put in your hair next week?
The same I've been using for the last 20 years, just for men. As second quarter action of the Gippsland League. It's great to have your company right across Gippsland and the Valley. Great to have football and netball back. And a big crowd down here on the coast. No doubt the recovery will be straight to the beach after this one. It's a nice 32 degrees at the moment. It is a balmy one. And we've travelled 19 minutes into this second quarter. And at Wonthaggi led it by 43 points. Troy Harley has 3. At the moment we've got a boundary throw in, so just a bit of a stalemate. Then the singles to Jones, Blair, that's Jared, Lockie Ferguson has 1, Josh Schultz and Tom Davey for the power.
All right, let's see if I can burst out of this defensive 50. McCulloch gets the tap down again, but as has been the case for most of the day, the pressure from Wonthaggi's been enormous. So they lock it inside their forward 50, and this is something you don't see Drouin being able to do all day. Just fighting hard to keep it in the area and keep the pressure on. And McCulloch gets front, and he punches it out of 50, but guess what? Only goes as far as Blair. It's Jack type. Takes the ball to ground, finds a teammate who's been tackled nicely by a couple of Drouin players. The umpire says no hope, give it to me and I'll bounce it down. So they're 60 metres from home, Wonthaggi. They're 7 goals, 1 up. They're closing in on half time, but it's been an impressive half of footy, let me say that. Mind you, it's the only half of footy we've seen in season 2021, but it's been pretty good. And unfortunately on that occasion, just as Jackson Koss was keen to move the ball forward, took the ball over the boundary line. As a consequence of some pressure from Wonthaggi, so yet another boundary throw in. McCulloch edges forward in front of Staley and takes the ball out of the contest. Handball's over the top, nice piece of play. Can they make it work? Salter gives it off, good work too to Morris. Morris feeds it off to Bailey Beck, and Bailey Beck threatens forward 50 and finds Theodoridis.
No one inside forward 50,
No,
Bob.
except for 3 Wonthaggi players. No, he couldn't kick that far. Surely the kick inboard though was not too bad. It was taken by Eddie Morris. It worked down the ground. He wanted to claim an extra 50, but it wasn't there, and the umpire was aware of that. So this is going to take a good kick by Eddie.
He's looking to pass it off, perhaps.
Yeah, he'll kick from 45, but he knows just with that wind coming from right to left, it's going to be tough. I think it's a lot tougher than what we think,
Absolutely.
boys, because it was really held up on that occasion. So maybe as we look at the scores, Drouin have
So that's
been
not the
fortunate.
scoring end.
No, you're right. You're right.
Gee
Because
whiz.
we didn't see that hold up like that previously, have we?
No, that one, well, I reckon Eddie Morris probably kicked it only 25 metres in the end, and he's a beautiful kick. So it just goes to show how strong that breeze is across this ground.
So there'll be a ball up just 15 metres on a 45-degree angle, Drouin into attack. For one of the rare occasions this afternoon, McCulloch will try to take the ball out. No, he won't. It goes the way of Wonthaggi. I reckon it could have been Josh Bates. Nonetheless, it'll be the boundary umpire that has possession of it because the ball's spilt over the boundary line. In fact, the field umpire will ball it up just metres inside of the boundary line. 25 metres now from Drouin's goals. Just repeating that score, Wonthaggi 8-4-52, Drouin 139. Richmond getting a touch up down at the MCG by Sydney as Drouin kicked from the contest. But I'll tell you what, Wonthaggi got the numbers. Theodoridis nearly got his way through but couldn't. So there'll be a score, but just a minor score.
1-4-10 takes the Drouin score on the Gippsland Live scoreboard. They trail by 42 points. Wonthaggi 8-4-52.
Kicking gets to the top of the 50, little scrubby little kick, lands there in Schultz, who gives a handball back to his teammate who ran on from half back, and a nice little neat one to Dawson, Looks inboard. He's got a teammate just at his toes. Can gather it nicely though. Did Bates, handled over the top to a teammate in Hayes, who got it the old 1-2. Hayes is on the end of it. Left foot kick, top of the square. Can't quite mark it there. Was our man Troy Harley. He's at ground level. We know where Troy Harley is. Davies there as well. Wrapped up in a Drouin tackle. Ball bobbles out close to the boundary line and doesn't go over. We have another ball up just inside the field of play. But
Great work there from the Drouin back. I just couldn't pick up who it was. He just got his arm across. This is twice now that Harley's probably been in the best position. Miller, yeah, he's done a great one-on-one, two contests there, both time inside 50s, where he's just been able to get his arm across the ball to give Harley that opportunity to take the easy mark.
Todd Beck from the stoppage won it, got crunched as he got rid of the football. He kicked it out of bounds on the full, but there will be a downfield kick. It's actually coming back to where he kicked it from.
You can see just a little bit now, conditions probably more contributed to this. There's some tired legs now already.
Has the wind picked up then, Boxer?
I just think the way Morris kicked before, I think he kicked right under the ball too, which gave it a little bit more air, which just held it up a bit more, but it definitely has picked up.
So Beck went towards his teammate in Harry Wands and couldn't gather it in time. It goes over.
I never had those issues when I kicked up.
No, you were probably in the 10-yard box.
I wouldn't get out of the square. So
That's right. Take the wind out of it.
Those little skinny legs, you can't afford much. Looks like two matchsticks sitting in the wrist hole. Ball, right half forward flank, Wonthaggi.
Clearly not looking at him now.
I've still got the mark where they used to chain me to the goalpost. Tethered goat.
Old Stumpy here.
There we go, Hooper jumps high, nicely done McCulloch, another tap forward, finds a teammate, under pressure, does he get rid of it legally? The umpire says yes, albeit he can't find a teammate. Just become a little bit sloppier as Drouin have applied a bit more pressure. Wonthaggi haven't had the room to wiggle that they've shown in the first 1 3/4 of this match.
The pressure's improved, but they're not scoring. It's just one of those things where...
But they've stopped Wonthaggi scoring, and that's the main thing. Wonthaggi have managed to grab just 2 goals in this quarter, and you'd have to think that maybe they're kicking against that strong breeze which is affecting them, but as they go forward again, can't really find a winner around about here, and here he's on the forward 50. In fact, it spills over the boundary line 50 metres from Wonthaggi's goals.
Key stats winners, Paul, for Harvey Norman Electrical Gippsland.
7 kicks to Jared Blair this quarter, taking his total to 12 at this stage, and 5 to brother Jack Blair. He's up to 10 as well. Eddie Morris is now up to 8 disposals for Drouin.
Another knockout for the big ruckman in McCallum. Jack Blair had it, lost it. Good work by Jones. Squeezed a handball out to the running Lindsay. Right foot kick inboard, diving, attempting mark by Luke O'Connor. Couldn't do so. Drouin under enormous pressure. Wrapped up there, Tom Murray. The ball spills out. Luke O'Connor again. Great work at ground level by Hancock. Lost the footy again. The Power are desperate inside their forward 50. Jack Blair jumps in, along with Tommy Barr, and the umpire says, well, it's not going anywhere, we'll do this again, and we'll ball it up directly in front. 40 metres out, we've travelled 26 and a half minutes in the second quarter, and the Power still lead by 43 points. Plenty of numbers around this one, as Staley got over the top of McCallum, who gave away the free kick. Will the advantage be paid? I think it is. No one said it was, but Drouin decided just to take it anyway. McFan kicked it out wide towards Jackson Koss, steps back inboard, handballs to Beck, gives it back to Koss. He can go one more to Morris, decides to kick though with his right foot. There's no one there, and the 2 Wonthaggi defenders just sport themselves a little bit there. The mark was dropped, but they're up to the task. Tim Knowles gathered it, pumped it 50 metres outside. It goes down towards half forward, no one there. Kingy gave a handball to no one in particular, coughed up the football. Working hard at ground level there was Schultz, and tackled by a couple of defenders. The umpire said we'll ball this one up 51 metres around from Drouin's goal.
I'm sure that the Drouin bench is not seeing it any different than what we are. When you're getting kicked off by 2 or 3 Wonthaggi defenders every time the ball comes inside your 50.
Bob McCallum's had 16 hit-outs this quarter.
Make it another one.
17.
They're not winning it though, as Blair handballed over his shoulder to Jones, gives it back to Blair, hard up on the boundary line. This is Jack, delivers nicely done, and marking that one was Harry Dawson. Well, this will be dead in front, because it was right on the 50 metre line, and it'll take him directly in front. And they've got the only 2 goals of the quarter, one at the 15 minute mark, one at the 16 minute mark, and now at the 27 minute mark, it's going to go to Harry Dawson. who will directly in front. They'll extend this margin. It'll be out to 48 points, and he puts it over the top of the netting outside of the rec reserve. And you know, we had an issue before with the football.
Yeah.
Well, we've got it again. So we
Jared Ruckhead was walking down the main street of Lee Gather and said, bloody hell, I've got this thing in a string still. I just bounced past him.
There's a lot of tired bodies coming. The rotations are working pretty hard through here now too. So again, probably the frustrating afternoon is continuing for Drouin. That was a real sloppy 50, which should never have been done. It was a clean mark to knock the ball away. Clear view of the umpire. It's just can't considering the fact that you're having a pretty bad afternoon so far.
And we're now out to a match high 48-point lead to Wonthaggi at the 28.5-minute mark of this second quarter. The Gippsland Live scoreboard reads Wonthaggi 9-4-58, Drouin 1-4-10.
Talk about bad afternoons. Let's go down to the MCG for a round of rounds thanks to Harvey Norman Furniture.
Seriously?
And we just started the third quarter. We're 5 minutes in, and the Swans have kicked away again. It is now 12-10, 82 the Sydney Swans. They lead the Tigers 5-7-37. Oh, that's a bit of a worry. That was a bit of a worried look.
Football just back into the rec reserve as we speak, but a little bit of a concern.
It's a concern.
Have we got a Gippsland Power Score box?
I just cannot get one for the life of me.
We do have one.
Oh, thank you very much.
Our good friends from Gippsland Footy who are here with us this afternoon as well have just nodded in yes. So Boxer, I'll leave that up to you to find us a Gippsland Power Score.
And the Gippsland Power Score, Gippsland Power 76-48 was defeated by the Dandenong Stingrays 12-15-87. So a little bit of a comeback there. From half time for the Power.
Working their way into the games.
They are. Tomahuta works hard on this occasion. Blair takes body and hit hard too, just as the half-time siren goes. So entertaining 60 minutes of football. Maybe the first 30 more entertaining than the second 30, but Wonthaggi at this stage, Scud, with a nice lead.
Well, they do have one. It's 9-4-58 the Power. Drouin a 1-3-9 at half-time. Michael Theodorides is the only goal scorer for the Hawks. While for Wonthaggi, Troy Harley has 3, Lockie Jones single, Jared Blair. We have Lockie Ferguson, Josh Schultz, Tom Davey and Harry Dawson kicked the last goal in that second quarter at the 28-minute mark. The margin, well, it's 48 points at half-time, and it is all Wonthaggi Power. It is a season opener here on TRFM. It is Gippsland Live. It's great to have you covered. It's half-time. 48-point margin, Wonthaggi, and it's all thanks to Harvey Norman Electrical. Get 5% back in Harvey Norman gift cards on selected cooking appliances. T's and C's apply.
let's have a good look at what Drouin can deliver. I reckon the first 5 minutes determines the outcome. Wonthaggi wins, but is it by more than what it currently is, and that currently sits at 48 points or not?
Well, let's have a look at it.
There we
Wonthaggi drive forward again. Murray puts it inside forward 50. No one can really mark it. Handball out there was from Harley. Gave it to a teammate high up and down in the air from, looked to be Dawson, but it's picked off there by Drouin. And the defender on the last line of defence down there.
They
is
just
McCallum.
appear to have more numbers all over the ground.
They do. McCallum kicks it out, and Blair picked it off, handballed over the top to his brother Jack, who gave it back to Jared. Shrugs one tackler, handball inboard, and having a shot on goal there was Mitch Hayes, and the breeze holds it up. It gets to the teeth of the goals. No one can mark it. Is it kept in? It might be. Luke O'Connor's there at ground level. There's a boundary umpire now that looks to has just jumped over the fence and just helping the young one out over there. And we've got a boundary throw in. Only 10 metres around from Wonthaggi's goal. Well, they looked menacing early, didn't they, in that first quarter, and they've started well in this third. As the ball comes back into play, Staley knocks it down, can't quite gather it. Quick tackle there by Kingy, and that's in the way of Jordan Kingy.
You know, the confidence is really completely out of draw when you've got the ball down back and he's taking his time to get it out. You can see up the ground there was 2 or 3 Drouin players on their own, and he just wasn't prepared to use it.
No, not at all. So the ball spills over the boundary line. There'll be a boundary throw-in. As we've mentioned a couple of times today, these boundary throw-ins, they're tough conditions, and they're young kids and they're doing a super job. But you've got to be in front because they're pretty shallow. And Pollock try to work hard to get to the front. They've beaten to it, taken out of the air, as you can almost expect. Staley left foot, top of square. Nicely done, or Ferguson nearly stole it. I mean, Schultz it was, nearly stole it, didn't. Taken nicely, one hand by Beck.
Well done.
Does it beautifully, bursts through defensive 50, kicks in front of the grandstand wing, and the race is on. First player there is going to be McFan. He's beaten to it though, nicely done, and held in by O'Connor. And he'll force a 50-50 contest, you'd think, here. Luckily, as the Drouin player at the bottom of the pack pulled the ball in, and Cameron McFan. So McCulloch, who's doing a lot of the ruck duties, and he's getting a lot of the first touches, although both missed on that occasion. Ground level, nicely done. Ball spills out. 3 or 4 players from either side try to get their hands on the ball but can't. So the umpire again will have a turn.
It was great play there by Beck, but again, they're just sloppy coming outside their defensive 50. There's real no structure coming out. They're just rushing. The pressure of Wonthaggi hasn't let up yet.
McCallum tapped down, couldn't quite get it. Quick kick on the boot though, gets over the top. McFan was there. Leading the way though was Knowles, got pushed in the back. Quick kick by Jordan King. He goes inside their forward 50. Front spot, Shannon Bray. And Bray, one of the best defenders in the comp, switches it out towards a teammate in Murray. Just missed him, but it bounces up nicely for him. Campbell Jolly tried to be the tackler, couldn't quite do so. Good work by Tommy Barr, shrugs the shoulder, good tackle. He's got support out there. It is from Jolly, kicks around his body again, high up in the air. Beck stands underneath it, so does Anderson. And the Wonthaggi with numbers gives it across. Here's Jared Blair, twisting, turning, right foot kick out wide. Finds a target eventually, handball over the top. The run comes there from Hayes. He's on the far wing, comes it back inboard to half forward flank. Staley in the front spot, couldn't mark it. Play on, said the umpire. Drouin get a handball through from Collins. Squeezes out wide there to Tommy Barr. Now gives it to Beck. This is in the Todd variety. Kicks it towards the top of the 50 of Drouin, and it goes out of bounds on the full. And that wind just carries it a little bit
I'm
further.
starting to see a little bit of the old Collingwood trait here from Jared Blair's coaching too. They like pushing the ball out wide, and they'll play down the line, and they'll punch the ball back inside their forward 50. They've done a fair bit this third quarter.
So they're out of sight of defensive 50 now, and on the end of it, it was a risky play, but Lockie Jones had some time, but his handball probably left a fair bit to be desired, and holding the ball in there for Drouin.
Well, that's the first mistake their back six has really made for the afternoon. They've been fantastic so far today.
Just Campbell and Tyler. So they're 55 metres from home being goals for Drouin, kicking to the left of your radio, Liam Gaffer side. Culloch gets a tap down. No, it's going to be to the advantage of the opposition, unfortunately. Good pressure, they will see the ball spill over, or will it? No,
He's very good.
Through beautifully. A series of quick handballs sees the young fella on the end of it, and I speak of Josh Schultz, who just goes inside forward 50.
Good pick up.
Nice pick up. It was picked up beautifully by Davey. Tries to kick to the advantage of the big man in Staley, who just couldn't get a handle on it, and just as he tried, it was Tim Hancock. can't read my own handwriting. Tim Hancock that came in and did what needed to be done. Yeah, nice pickup
from Davey.
Yeah, did a good job, didn't he?
Yeah, that was a great pick-up there too. Some of the poise of these Wonthaggi players in the conditions have been quite outstanding, to be honest.
Ball comes back into play. Staley does the ruck work for the Power. At ground level, I've been impressed with Ferguson. Gave it across to a runner. Good work in traffic from Murray. Squeeze the handball out. Here's Jones. Goes to the left, back onto the right, puts it on its way. It's going. It's through for another goal. And the Power get the first at the 5.5 minute mark of the third quarter.
I think they're just going to start digging those nails in now, Poppy. I think they just seem a lot cleaner. They seem very, very well poised, moving their ball through their back six. They're picking up players. Drouin just look a little bit lost.
And that's Jones' second goal for the day. On the McDonald's Gippsland scoreboard, we have a 54-point margin in Wonthaggi's favour now. 5 minutes into the third quarter. Wonthaggi 10-4-64, Drouin 1-4-10.
And Lockie Jones looked as enthusiastic kicking that goal as the side did kicking their first, where I noticed a lot of the Drouin players had their heads hung low. And so could this be the start of a bit of a barrage? McCulloch says, no, I'm going to keep on fighting, gets the tap forward. On the end of it there for Drouin was Tommy Barr. Can't burst through right half forward flank. The umpire will take control. Drouin into attack, trailing now by 54 points. And we've played just 5 minutes of this, or just over 6 minutes of this third quarter.
So we said your question might be answered, Poppy, at the 10-minute mark. I'll come to your answer in a moment. As Drouin go inside forward 50, the bounce goes over the top of Stephen Scott. Numbers there for Drouin. Jackson Costa's the one, wrapped up in a tackle. Working hard at ground level, Cameron McFan for the Hawks. He lost it. Now Cost has to go again. Squeezes the handball backwards to Tyler. His kick was partially smothered. Great work in a small little spot there for the Power. And eventually, we've got a boundary throw in, have we? No, a free kick.
He's called for a sling off the ball.
There's a free kick going out wide to Wonthaggi. He's right up on the boundary. It looks to come inboard. It's into the wind, but they've done it all day. The kick just carries. Beck goes back, got crunched. There's a free kick. Todd Beck with a free kick. He's 70 metres from home. It's going to be another kick towards one of their key forwards, but the time allows Wonthaggi to get some defenders back. Beck goes towards the far side of the ground. Pushed underneath the football. No free kick. Play on, they said. Switching it out. The Drouin Hawk supporters aren't happy. There's Knowles goes towards the boundary line. Staley, the big fellow, lumbers after it. Robertson was out there with Barr. Quick kick back inside forward 50 again, and hold standing his ground. Jack Blair.
They're just playing in front. They've got numbers back. I'm really going to call the Drouin half forwards lazy because they're just allowing their players to do whatever they want.
So O'Connor takes some mark plays on, risky play. They might just give it up right here. Nice contest there. Davey hit the body and the ball, but it's Drouin who go forward. A torpedo by Bailey Beck inside forward 50. Didn't get any higher than a metre, but gained 35. Turned over, but only momentarily again. The Hawks take it on from inside forward 50. Nice leg by Tommy Barr. Marked on the goal line, if it's not a goal already, by Michael Theodorius, who's kicked just the one.
Sound like you're choking.
And his Doritos.
There he goes, got his second of the afternoon. So, for the quarter, Drouin have evened it up for the quarter.
I don't even know how to do that. But no, it was a great kick inside, and it just goes to show when you've got forwards that can actually take a mark and present well, get the ball inside as quick as you can. So
I think I chucked in a couple of extra syllables there, didn't I?
Yeah. I think it's a bit that cock in the end, but a good little goal there to open accounts there in the third quarter for Drouin.
Oh, with a goal apiece, we go back to the half-time margin of 48 points on the McDonald's Gippsland scoreboard. 10-4-64 Wonthaggi, Drouin 2-4-16.
Staley and McCullum. McCullum knocked it back. Working hard there was Davey, got boot the ball. Centre half forward it goes. O'Connor's there. Comes to ground level. Kingy, that's for Drouin. Gave it to Miller, then just coughed it up. Played well as Luke O'Connor. Quick kick forward there from Knowles. Gets to the top of the 50. Running onto it on the far side. Gives a nice little neat handball. Just missed him though was Mitch Hayes. They're rushing it forward. Aidan Lindsay's there for the Power. Can't quite get it. Ground level, they've got some numbers around. Here's Lockie Ferguson. Kicks it inboard, no one can really mark it. Davies there as well. Ferguson goes again for the Power. Got driven into the ground by Beck, and the umpire said, you didn't have the football, you can have the free kick. He's on the tough side of the ground though. The breeze will be in his face, Lockie Ferguson.
What's a free kick count, Carts, when you get a chance?
He
Does
plays on-
Wonthaggi play on?
Quickly, keeps it low, drives it in. Spoiled through, now it goes through over it. They kind of tried to keep it in. The ball has been killed, has it? No. Kicked off the ground. I think it was killed early.
It was already a point.
Minus score. McDonald's Gippsland scoreboard, Trimaca's new McSpicy, and the Palmy Chicken Burger.
10-5-65 Wonthaggi to 2-4-16. And answer to Poppy's question, free kicks were 14-8 Drouin's way at half time. And it's 2-1 Wonthaggi's way this quarter.
Quickly around the grounds in the AFL, and it is only getting worse for the Tigers.
Oh, you're kidding.
It's three-quarter time, and it's 15-12. This one's over. It's 15-12, 102 to Richmond, 7-9, 51.
Well, Drouin are fighting hard. Let's talk about Richmond another time, because a standing start torpedo from 55 threatens the goals, but doesn't make it. I reckon it was Todd Beck that had that ball.
Yep.
From 55 metres, he just turned and twisted and pirouetted and kicked the ball. Almost perfect torpedo, other than just marginally offline.
Margin is 48 points. Stephen Scott drove it in for the power. Nice little handball out there. Goes in the way of Knowles, whose kick landed on the chest of Hayes on his defensive 50. Just slows things up now. To McDonald's Gippsland scoreboard. Goes to Knowles again, who pushed on and gave in an option. Half-back flank, far side here at Wonthaggi.
I don't think Drouin have had consecutive two inside 50s for the whole game.
Paul Carter might have those, does he? Not quite.
Oh, this quarter they have.
Yeah, well, there you go. Inboard, they come. It's a turnover. McFan has it, drives around. Left foot, it's 4-on-1. And guess what? The 4 wins. Oh, Howard nearly tripped over his own feet as they get out towards Lenahan. And he's got a space. They get to the wing. They can bounce and sit nicely. He's got all the time in the world. Does the youngster there in Dawson. Goes over the top of Hoother. Back there is Kingy for Drouin. Comes back inboard and finds Eddie Morris, half-back flank. He can go to the coach in Kingy. This is Jordan, quickly plays on. Left foot drives it in. There's a downfield, no. Play on. Theodides is all on his own, and a good spoil comes from Stephen Scott to put it over the boundary line for a boundary throw-in.
A forward's nightmare when you're on your own inside 50 and the ball just decides to sit up and wait and wait and wait.
So a boundary throw-in, forward 50 for Drouin. Grandstand side of Wonthaggi Oval, right on the intersection of forward 50 and boundary. Ball to be thrown in. Who's going to have first look at it? It's a good, decent throw. The big fella in McKellen came through, couldn't pick up the ball. Blair could, nicely done. Bang! Bang! I reckon the tackler got the worst of that. But anyway, the free kick's been paid for holding the man. It's going to go Drouin's way.
Yep.
It is indeed. So Drouin will get the free kick.
Jordan King is it?
And kick for goal.
I think he might have gave him a little bit of a niggle before him. I think the umpire saw the retaliation rather than an initial contact.
He's done that a few times today. Too has Kingy.
Is it frustration?
Probably.
There'd be probably a lot of that right now.
So at half time the margin was 48. Kingy kicks to make that margin less than that, but he'll need a decent kick. The wind will favour him coming over his left shoulder.
Hard left.
Yeah, definitely aiming for that left upright, and he's hit it too fine. Goes across the face of goals, and in fact struggled with the distance as well. So Wonthaggi tried to get it out, but couldn't. Cut off nice by Salter. Can they threaten the goals? They can't. The boundary might beat them. They're right on it. The boundary umpire says, "Pop, you're right. I'll throw this in."
Paul Carter, what AFL club back in the day had the so-called midfield, the Mosquito Fleet? Who were they? Carlton had it, didn't they? Was it Carlton?
You're telling the story.
I'm asking the question.
Essendon.
I can't
Was it
remember.
Essendon?
Essendon in the late 40s.
Yeah, so I think right now, I think the Mosquito Fleet nearly could live with the Wonthaggi power. They've got some great smalls. Right now, that's what I'm seeing.
Yep.
I agree.
Well, I just thought it was. See, I thought it was Carlton in the 80s.
I thought it was Carlton in the 80s.
Whoever it was,
There could have been two.
actually.
Could have been two mosquito fleets.
There could be 3.
Well, Wonthaggi certainly winning the on-brawl brigade here. There's McCallum just to give a quick handball off. Kingy's there as well. Handball over his shoulder towards the boundary line, goes over. And another boundary throw in.
Could have been 6. It could have been plenty of them.
Name a side that didn't have one.
Margin 48 points. I'll let these two guys go on with it for a little while. We got an update in the AFLW
Yes,
game.
that's the final scores too there. And the Melbourne Demons, they go into the prelim final. They defeated Freo 5-10-40 to 3-5-23. So it was a Demon win today.
And do we have a up Gippsland Power final score?
I'm hoping our mates...
Well, we had that before, but you didn't write it down. Good work, Boxer.
7 goals, 8 to 12 goals, 15. Or
Thanks to Harvey Norman Furniture Gippsland. Shop online or in store for the full range.
I can't read it in these conditions.
It's great to say too. I just got a
There's a player down at there too, Boxer. No Cheerios just at the moment. Jordan King is in a little bit of strife inside his defensive 50 at the moment, and we spoke about this prior to the game. It's been a long time. He hasn't been able to get on the park in the previous years. We've had a full 18 months off. That's right. And now he's in a bit of strife again. I'm just going to make sure there's a couple of guys wearing the blue boots out there, and Jordan King is one of them. He looks like he's walking towards me at the moment, so it might not be Jordan Kingy after all that.
No, he's just turned around.
Let's have a quick look again. It's right on the far side of the ground, so it's a fair distance away from us at the moment.
Yeah, they're called to the bench. I know the trainers are there. Yeah, they're calling the stretcher.
So there will be a little bit of a stoppage in play here, as the player is down. Certainly,
it's not Theo Doritas,
and it's not Jordan King, because he's in the middle taking the group B and the coach that he's at the moment. So
I think he had blue. I think I've got him listed as having coloured boots on. Is he there?
Bob McCullum's over there at the moment. We'll get that player for you in the moment. It is just gone 16 and a half minutes in this third quarter. Score as it reads at the moment: Wonthaggi 10-5-65 are leading Drouin 2-5-17. Goals this quarter: Lockie Jones got the first one at the 5.5 minute mark, an absolute cracker as he faked onto the left and went back onto the right, put it through. And then Michael Theodorides kicked one at about the 8 3/4 minute mark of that quarter as well.
Scott, I think it could be Salter.
Okay, so if you name 4 players, we'll get another one before he actually gets carried off.
We can't get it. But I think it is Salter.
Some of the key stats. We'll go to key stats there at the moment for Gippsland Isuzu.
Another 3 this quarter to Jared Blair, taking him to 15. Jack Blair 2, he's also won 15. 4 to Mitch Hayes, he's up to 9. We have probably covers it there. Over on the Drouin side, Eddie Morris is up to 11 disposals. Jordan Kingy on 8. Todd Beck's had a good quarter this quarter. He's had 6 disposals, taking his total up to 13. Bailey Beck is on 7.
Thanks very much for that, Paul. Inside 50s, we've got some clearances and marks inside 50s for us as well.
Drouin have gone inside 50 several times this quarter, and we were talking before about consecutive ones. They actually had 5 in a row there, and that was where they got their second goal at the 9 minute mark. On the 5th of those inside 50. So the Wonthaggi defence has been really, really tough on them, as the scoreboard demonstrates, with just 2 goals for halfway through the third quarter. So it's 10-5 inside 50s this quarter to Drouin. So it's a bit of a turnaround from the first half.
It's been a dirty day for Drouin, in all honesty. They would have come here with high hopes of knocking off the home side and kicking off their season with a win against the odds, but those odds were all one way after the first 5 minutes, really, when Harley opened the door with a couple of beautiful goals, and really from there on in it's been Wonthaggi. I mean, it hasn't been as smooth and precise as what we saw in the first 30 minutes, but it's been effective all the same, and that 5-goal lead's sort of slowly edged its way out to 8 goals with, you know, a little bit of time left to go. But you know, it might be a long season ahead for Drouin, but for Wonthaggi, as Scud pointed out pre-match, they'd be hopeful of doing some damage up towards the top of the table.
I'm really surprised with Drouin. I honestly had some real. They've recruited pretty well. They've straightened themselves up with a couple of forwards, and this is pretty much the same midfield from last year as well. But geez, take nothing away from Wonthaggi now.
No, they've been good.
They've been fantastic, but yeah, they're disappointed so far. And maybe, you know, it could be first round blues as well. Let's hope it's not.
Difficult to win over here too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I know Mafra at the very height had a lot of trouble winning over this screen.
Yeah, so you know, taking those into consideration, I think that as long as they can take a lot out of the game and you know, maybe, you know, train to it, try and rectify it. I think it may be a long year for Drouin if they don't fix this things up right now.
Well, nothing like a grudge match to get you back in gear, and next week they play Warragul, so you know that will certainly have them fired up. Whatever happens here, and it doesn't look great here at the minute.
And Callum Tyler's the player in question at the moment, so a couple of the Drouin boys roll across to him now, so let's hope that Callum is all okay. As he's being carried off on that stretcher as we speak, and game will recommence very shortly. Looks to be, will it be a ball up, Paul? Did you see where it was at that stage? The boundary. No, there's a free kick on the far side, isn't there? So we've probably gone about 5 minutes of extra time here, so this quarter will go a little bit longer than what the previous quarters have gone.
16-minute mark is when we stopped.
And we're now at the 20-minute mark, so the ball's on the far side of the ground for Drouin. They're about to put it forward. It doesn't look in a good way as he comes off just below us now as Todd Beck goes onto the ground. And we'll just get things back underway as Drouin will have this 60 metres out from goal. The umpire puts his hands up, we'll get things back underway. They drive it inside forward 50, and after all that it's nearly going to go out of bounds on the full. Big fly from Drouin, tapped, and it goes over for a boundary throw in. Inside forward 50 now for the Hawks.
So the Hawks, who were 48 points down at half time, still remain 48 points down. Got a handful of minutes plus after that short break. Pollock, nice handball. Can they make something out of nothing? They can't just at the minute, but they've got the numbers around the ball. Kick towards goal, smothered beautifully by Blair. Cut it off nicely, danced around a couple. Oh, so sweet. There comes grandstand side. All the wind held it up terribly, but they've got the numbers around the ball as they've had for most of the day, and they come grandstand side. One-on-one contest. Punched down to the ground. First player there is going to be McKellar. Dances around one, not sure where to go, so gives ground with a tumbling kick along the ground, puts his teammate under pressure, but he edges it forward some 35 metres before it's cut off at the pass by Wonthaggi, and marking that ball. No play on was the call, so Wonthaggi, I reckon, was dropping it. Play on, no, Fergus O'Connor, I thought, dropped the ball, and now Drouin will go forward, dishes it off beautifully. He's got time to straighten up and find a teammate. Not quite. Almost a slips catch required by Theodoritis, and he holds the ball inside 450. Umpire might play. No, he won't. Didn't have much opportunity to get that out. So the boys are
A little bit going on.
a little bit inspired football, a bit of going on off the football.
Yep.
You're right.
Again, quick snap around the body there from Stevens, and it just got to the goal line, touch line. Beck was there, coming through quickly was Anderson of Power, and was able to rush it through, but a good little snap there from the big fella.
Boundary throw in.
Didn't quite go over the line, so boundary throw in. 22 and a half minutes gone. Margin is at 48 points as it was at half time. Shallow throw in. McCallum tapped it over the back to Kingy. Gathered it but quickly wrapped up in a tackle from Lindsay.
Has he had 50 yet? Tap outs?
That's another 8 this quarter, so 35.
Well, make it 36. Well, I don't know if you count that, but he grabbed it out of the ruck and then didn't quite get his handball away. Holding the ball, Shannon Bray wins the free kick.
Not happy with it either. Not happy with that umpire's decision.
Yeah, I think he might have been a bit quick with the whistle then, Bob.
So the Power, with all 35 players in front of him, chooses to go towards the outer side of the ground. It will touch the boundary, you'd think. No, keeping it in. I'm not sure that it was the best move in the world. It was possibly Wan's, but it's Wonthaggi with numbers through Schultz that has it at the moment. Tries to dance around one or two, kick off the ground,
Schultz.
missed. Schultz took him off the play. Gee, she's sloppy out there. She's desperate, she's tough, but gee, she's sloppy. And the umpire will come in and pull this one up. Still 65 metres from Drouin's goals on the outer side of the ground. Wonthaggi leading 10-5 to 2-5.
I think Drouin have actually just lifted the tempo a little bit, even though they haven't really scored as much as they could have been. They've actually kept their ball inside their forward 50 for quite some time now.
Well, they're 60 metres out from their goal at the moment. A lot of numbers around this. The umpire has no other option but to ball it up again. I think it's just great that we've got football and netball back on your Saturday afternoons. Hopefully you're enjoying it wherever you might be. right across Gippsland and the Valley. If you're on our roads, don't forget to drive safely, of course, as a free kick has been paid here. And it goes out the back. And Wonthaggi looks to be, that was Scott who kicked it high up in the air, couldn't quite mark it with Schultz. Comes to ground working hard down there was Dawson. And over it goes for another boundary throw in.
And they've just started to tighten up a little bit, Jordan. So those one-on-ones now are quite more evident. You know, they're not winning them all, but they get the ball to ground and we create stoppages and not that Wonthaggi run and carry like they have been.
No, certainly haven't got the room that they've had in the first, at least quarter and a half as we sort of edge towards three-quarter time. Nicely done there by Wonthaggi. Quick kick forward by Staley, was it? And no, I noticed there's a spider the size of this.
I'm not sitting here anymore.
I thought it was a sparrow. It was huge.
Can we stop? I'm not sitting here anymore.
Don't think so.
Ball's gone out of bounds. We've got a few moments, Boxer. What's going on at your end of the bush?
There's a big boy
I was just about to feed her the cracker. It's the size of a parrot. Anyway, Wonthaggi go forward to left half forward flank.
Do we get danger?
A power inside forward 50, looking for a winner. Can't find one just at the moment. Still in play, drawn at ground level. Nicely done. Handball finds Collins. Collins around the body, goes higher
Lindsay.
and longer and out of play in the full.
He's called up
But
to
maybe
he's called
Robertson.
Yeah, well, it was out of play on the full anyway. The umpire just pay a 50 if he feels as though it was unwarranted given the ball was out of play on the full, but the free kick's been paid.
Aidan Lindsay now drives it inside. Schultz is there. Does he mark
Free
that?
kick.
Either way, yep. And he plays on quickly, top of the 50, goes towards the square. Staley's back there. He's got the height, he's got the body, and he pushes his opponent out, takes an easy mark in the end, and will go back and directly in front. Well,
it's the big difference inside 50. They're prepared to put the ball out in front of their forwards and use the ball well inside 50. If you're playing run like that with a height, you're never going to get beat.
he goes back a long way, Jordan Staley. He's directly in front. He'll end up kicking this from about 25 metres. Just got to adjust for the wind. Starts to the right, puts it straight through the middle. Power's got two in this third quarter.
Staley showed a bit then too. There was no nervous run up then. He kicked through that ball with a little bit of authority as well. So just goes to show when you put the ball in front of those big forwards like that, what they can actually do. And great build up there by the Power, and well rewarded with another goal.
At the lead now at 54 points on the McDonald's Gippsland scoreboard, and we've played 27 minutes into this third quarter. 11-5-71 Wonthaggi, 2-5-17 Drouin.
How much time was wasted, do you think, or burnt due to the injury? 5 minutes, was it okay?
They haven't restarted the clock. I noticed before then too. They have now.
Paul Carter has one right here for
Well,
you,
I can't
Boxer.
see past your bottom.
That's because you're looking at the spider.
I can't. I'm not looking there. I'll tell you now. I might turn around. Just
He's looking at you.
It has moved and now it looks like a coffee table next to him.
Jared Blair gets a handball out wide. There's lots of Drouin players out this way. It's Beck is one of those. That's Todd. Squeeze the handball back to Morris. Got driven into the ground. In the back, said the umpire. There's Aidan Lindsay. Drove Eddie Morris into the ground.
he's unlucky. He did turn his body as well too. But anyway.
Swings around, right foot towards the forward line in front spot. Dropped it though was Bray. Has to fight for it at ground level now. Good heavy work on that occasion with Lenahan. Dives in again. Drouin looking for the free kick.
They just do not look as dangerous going inside forward 50 as what Wonthaggi do. They kick it. Wonthaggi have been kicking in with purpose and a plan, but it looks as though Drouin either bomb it in or just cannot find a man, or more times than not, their forwards are behind.
Great call, Poppy.
So anyway, let's see if we can get a call for Wonthaggi here. They're going to burst through defensive 50, or are they? Some heavy work done at ground level by Matty Stevens. But at the end of the day, it'll be held in 45 minutes from Drouin, 45 metres from Drouin's goals. They trail by some 9 goals.
The match inside 50s to this stage is 26-30 Wonthaggi's way, so it's not huge.
No.
Certainly fought back in that aspect, but Poppy's right on the money there. Trying to crash his way through there was Jolly, and was given it the benefit of the doubt.
Even when the ball went inside 50 with that kick from back, that the forward hadn't stopped running when the Wonthaggi play got.
Bray was in front, exactly right.
You know, so
Cullum took it out of the ruck, popples around Eddie Morris, left foot kick around his body. Theodorides tried the one-hander, couldn't quite do so. Jackson Koss whacked it on the left foot. It goes across the face of the goal just, and it's a minor score on the McDonald's Gippsland scoreboard in this third quarter. Try Macca's new McSpicy Palmy Burger.
spicy.
It's a 53-point lead to Wonthaggi, 11-5-71 to Drouin, 2-6-18, played 29 and a half minutes.
Great smother coming out from defence. I reckon was O'Connor. He had the ball smothered, and the ball now is 30 metres from Drouin's goals after they held it in there.
Yeah, we've got 10 minutes to go in the AFL, and just a quick update, it's still the Sydney Swans well in control, 16-13, 109 to Richmond, 9-10-64, thanks to Harvey.
Oh, Blair does well from the stoppage, bust away from it and kicks it toward Luke O'Connor. Good little spoil there from Joe Collins, and the tackle. Long way from home is Harley, and O'Connor in a strong Robinson tackle, threw it to the ground. They're not happy with him as Blair goes to him. Now they go to Blair, it's right in the boundary line. They're not happy at all, wouldn't be surprised. And it is on right in front of us. Lindsay's in there. Blair's there as well. The umpire says we're going to throw this one up, and it's definitely ugly now.
Ring-a-ding-ding.
Yep. Well, you watch that one, Boxer. Tell us what happens. The football's back into play. Jack Blair, the power away. Handball's over the top now to Fergus O'Connor. They crush in the other way. Wanda's there. Drive it down inside the top of the 50. The brawl's still happening right in front of us. Wonthaggi got some numbers back there. They said they want to start sending a few players off. The emergencies umpire there. The play still goes on. Now they separate. Handball out the back there from Knowles. They kick it towards centre half forward, and Big Bob McCullum takes a mark. Take a breath. What happened?
Oh, tell you what, it was all over. Animals at the end. Harley decided to throw his big frame. And Ed Morris is probably seeing stars there too, I think.
Right on the three-quarter time siren. We might stay with this for just one moment, or are they all stuffed?
I'll tell you what, if you had a screen there on the radio, you can see Ed Morris right now. I reckon it's all the mummy right now. He needs a rest.
Well,
He needs a rest right now.
three-quarter time siren sounded in amongst all that. They go to Robinson again. They just walk past and say everything's okay. The power, we get close to the Hawks. They're well in control, Wonthaggi. And that's what you expect, I guess, after so long without not playing football. It is Wonthaggi.
Well, Matt Stevens had to sit and wait, and coming over the top was Flint Anderson.
So a boundary throw in. Paul Carter. Sorry, we'll let that go. We'll come back to that in a moment, Paul. As the ball goes over the back, couldn't quite work it out. On that occasion was the ruckman Ryan Taylor. So Big Bob McCullum's gone forward, Boxer. Good pick up, thank you.
Left half forward flank is where it is, drawn into attack, nicely edged forward. Again, first to the ball is Wonthaggi. At the bottom of the pack, working hard was Jack Blair. It spills out, nicely done. And Lenahan has it, goes short again. Geez, they look somewhat similar to that first quarter. They're being a little bit more precise. This time they go long out the back, too easy. Way too easy, if you don't mind, and taking the mark was Josh Bates. Apparently you remind someone of Dersma, just not quite so good. And so Bates now will kick from almost in front, really, the slightest of margins, and as he makes contact with the ball, he'll be about 35 metres from goals. A little bit of left to right. His side 9 goals up, 2.5 minutes into the final quarter. And he's looking for his first of the day. Off the boot, a bit too far left, unfortunately, and it held its line. So behind for Wonthaggi.
Taking him to 11-7-73, a 55-point lead over Drouin 2-6-18. Harvey Norman Computers scoreboard.
Quick play on it again, flying high there was Lenehan. Couldn't quite get a hand on it. Ed Morris kicked it high up towards the wing area. 2 power players do collide and end up coughing up the football. Salter comes in for Drouin. Handball's inboard, the old 1-2, but it goes over the top. Here's Robinson, and they put him down because he started things last time. Big Bob McCullum swings around onto the left foot, drives it in, and we got a 50-metre penalty as they jumped over the mark. And well, the Wonthaggi boys don't like Robinson at the moment, but they won't care because they're going to have a shot on goal about 15 metres out, and it's going to be Big Bob McCullum box.
Yeah, look at they've gone to 3 tools, Drouin. I think just to try and get some respectability back in the scoreboard too. I just didn't like the fact that he's got 3 slower players down forward. It's worked for him this time now. We'll just see how it works out for the next part of this quarter.
So Drouin looking for their 3rd goal. Bob McCullum puts it through and he becomes, well, the 2nd goal scorer for the Hawks. Theo Dorides has 2, and now Big Bob McCullum gets that one for the Hawks.
And it's a 3-6-18 Drouin on the Harvey Norman Computers scoreboard. They are trailing Wonthaggi by 49 points. Wonthaggi 11-7-73. We've played 4 minutes into the final quarter.
What's happening too though, we've got the 3 bigs down forward for Drouin, the forwards when they're pressing up, the backman for Wonthaggi, they're just picking them off. And I was watching body language of Bobby McCullum and that a few times in a couple of passages of play there. It's pretty hard when you're not going to push up and make them accountable, especially when you've got players running around loose, winning the ball willy-nilly.
So Blair becomes a loose man off this half-back flank, and that is Jared Blair. So don't be surprised if he runs through the centre square and gets a receiving handball here as Hoother goes up, got it down towards his teammate in Lenehan, as Jared Blair continues on that run now and ends up in the forward line. As again they go up, this time knocked down by Taylor. Wonthaggi at ground level, tried to squeeze a handball. Salter just kicked it off the ground towards the Hawks way. Lockie Jones goes back. Good work by McCullum to intercept that one. Now Jack Blair was there, got one over the...
Free kick, Drouin's way, McCulloch behind play.
Good call.
I think he'll kick this.
Too far out for mine. The wind's a big issue. He's 65 metres out. Runs now, gets to about 48. Left foot, he did kick it, I suppose, boxer. The wind holds up, but in the end it puts it out of bounds on the full.
I would never have played that joke, Joe. That's not my maturity at the moment. I would think it would have kicked the goal.
49 point the margin here in favour of Wonthaggi. Round 1 continues next weekend. We're going to come to you live from the Traralgon Showgrounds. It'll be the Maroons taking on the Leongatha Parrots. Kicking it in is Scott. The power drives it well and truly outside his 50, and they got some runners and some numbers. They burst through the middle of the ground now. Left foot kick goes in towards the top of the 50. Good holding his ground back there and getting wrapped up in a quick tackle. Good tackle. It was by McCullough, and it was on the Jordan Staley like down there, the big fella. He gives it back to the umpire, who will ball it up right on the top of the 50.
He was giving up some height and some bulk, but he held his ground and held on tight, brought the ball to the ground out of the 50-50 contest.
And I think the upset of the year, we'll call it the last 18 months, it's the Sydney Swans at the MCG have defeated the reigning premiers 17-15, 117 to Richmond 10-12, 72. It's going to be a happy trip on the way home.
Sounds like the loss we had to have. The ball at centre half forward is Wonthaggi into attack, as we've said for most of the day, because for most of the day that's what they've done. Holds up badly on Kingy v Blair. Blair, ever so sweet, picks it up one hand, handballs it off to the little champ in Ferguson, and Ferguson goes, "Thank you, coach." There's a goal to add to the scoreboard. Wonthaggi.
I don't think I was too far off about the mosquito fleet. We found one, albeit it's the first game of the year and we haven't seen other sides. The small brigade of the Wonthaggi Power absolutely tremendous, led by Jared Blair and Ferguson, and led by a couple more, but those two specifically, great setup, inside 50. A well-deserved goal there for Ferguson. That might have been his second or third.
It's second goal to Ferguson, coming at the 7-minute mark of the final turn. And on the Harvey Norman computer scoreboard, we've got Wonthaggi 12-7-79, leading Drouin 3-6-24.
Back to the middle they go. Tap there was from Staley, but picked off by Beck, who drove it. Top of the 50 they go for Drouin. Over the top of McCullum's head. Numbers favour the power. Anderson will be the first one to get there. Goes around on the right foot. Out towards Jack Blair. Couldn't quite mark it, but brought it to ground. Riley Lindsay was there. Comes inboard with a nice kick to Jones. He'll just hold things up. Wants to slow things down. He goes backwards towards Lindsay again. Marks. Chips it over the top to Jack Blair. He stops and props. They're still on the half-back flank. They've had 3 or 4 touches and haven't moved a great deal in distance, but they do lead by 55 points. Inboard kick was neat. Found Hayes, just a little bit slow to get up. Got one in the calf.
I think they have plenty of legs, Wonthaggi.
Kick goes short again, looking for, that time was Bates, couldn't quite mark it. Drouin got some numbers. Morris is there, sweeping handball inboard to the run of Harry Wands. Got ran down, he went and got again though, Wands, well done. Got it out now to Tommy Barr, left foot kick goes inside forward 50. Going back is Bailey Beck, couldn't quite judge it. And again, great work by Anderson to push it over for a boundary throw-in. Is Anderson playing loose at the moment, Box?
I think he is, only because Blair was the loose one as well, so I think they're just prepared to go either end.
So drawing inside there forward 50, but interested to hear the stats today because they might surprise you how close they are and how much the margin favours one particular side. Drawing inside forward 50 again, but this is where they're falling down for most of the day. They've got it in there, but haven't been able to find the goals.
It's great to see Wonthaggi still applying that pressure. You know, we're probably halfway through this last quarter, and they're still applying those tackles, even the gang tackles as well.
So I reckon Drouin will have a goal for every probably 15 entries. We'll do the sums after the game. I'm making that up, but I reckon, based on what Paul Carter told us at halftime, that could be the case. They're inside forward 50 as we speak. They're under pressure though, and Blair will get under end of it. He'll handball it off nicely, and he does it. And they've got the numbers too, running from behind the player with the ball. And on this occasion, it's going to be O'Connor who goes short, and they go through
another one.
Ferguson again. He's got the open goals. He just needs to be accurate. It just needs to bounce. And guess what? It was accurate, and it bounced straight through for his third, and Wonthaggi's 13th.
I think the real positive sign for me with Wonthaggi right now, we're 10 or 12 minutes into this last quarter and they're still executing their game plan. They push numbers out wide, and they're prepared to use that small 45 inboard and run the centre of the ground. Ferguson found himself in the right position. They used their hands beautifully and finished off with 45 metres out.
We've passed the 10-goal mark now with 13-7-85. Wonthaggi to Drouin 3-6-24. A 61-point lead on the Harvey Norman computer scoreboard. 10.5 minutes played, final quarter.
Lockie Ferguson got the last 2 goals of the quarter here for the Power. Big moments brought to you by Monticello's Corona slabs at $49 and the Oyster Bay Slab Blanc at $13. We'll be calling in there on the way home. Boxer, your shout. As again, Wonthaggi go forward, this time through Aidan Lindsay. In towards the forward line. Luke O'Connor, good mark. Here he is again. He shrugged one tackle, shrugged 2, puts it on, left foot inside out, tore meat. Pito lands on the goal line, touched. Drouin have got some numbers. It's 2-on-1, but Wonthaggi wrestle it out of their hands. Can they get a shot? Down there is a quick handball, comes out towards Luke O'Connor, and in the end, well, they're outnumbered. It was great work by Big Tomahutha to win the footy back, squeezed a handball out to O'Connor, who put it through.
He's been fantastic all day, O'Connor. His poise has been fantastic. I think I've got a little man crush on young members at the moment because he's just executing the perfect small man role inside 50, and that goal would have been probably the goal of the year, albeit that it's the first one.
We have a 67-point margin here on the Harvey Norman computer scoreboard. 11-minute mark of the final quarter. Wonthaggi 14-7-91 to Drouin 3-6-24, and the last 3 inside 50s to Wonthaggi have been goals.
I tell you right now, Troy Harley at one stage today had the goal of the year. It was the very first goal of this game.
Where's that spider? Here it is.
No, don't. Just leave him alone, he's sleeping.
Wake him up a bit.
Yeah, wake him up. The ball thrown up, nice hit forward by the big fellow McCullum. Goes towards centre half forward. Taken to the ground was Drouin's Tim Knowles, but he can't get the ball out, so the umpire will ball that one up.
Did anyone pick Drouin today apart from me?
No, it was just you.
No, it was just you, yep.
Yeah, yes. Special comments, man. The most experienced footballer of all of us.
We should have done that little dog that
Yeah.
walked around the oval earlier. Comes out here now to Beck. He grabbed it and then threw it quickly on the boot, did Bailey. Goes inside forward 50, but not for too long. Sweeping that one up was Fergus O'Connor. Gave it to Bray. Quick handball across now to Anderson. Gets around one. Defensive 50. Drives it to the wing. Back there is King in the front spot. Worked underneath it. Wands was over the back to support. He gives it to a teammate. Blair, nice little smother. Didn't quite get there in the end. Big pack forms. Aidan Lindsay at ground level was good with a handball inboard, and Jones was under enormous pressure as soon as he grabbed it. No opportunity, and the umpire said, good tackle Bailey, but I'll ball this one up. 13 minutes gone, final quarter of the season opener in the Gippsland League. Right here on TRFM, and it is Wonthaggi in total control. 67 points they are leading, on their way to their first victory for some 18 months. There's Miller. Gets it at centre half back, handballs to no one in particular, goes inside their forward 50 though, picks it up was Murray, squeezed a handball out down to Knowles, took on the tackler of Miller and then just checked his kick. Lindsay's there, it's 3-on-1. Wonthaggi got numbers and they got run in their legs everywhere. Ferguson's kick missed the target though. Tried to shimmy and shake and he does beautifully, does Troy Harley. He drives it from 60. It's over the back. Where's Lockie Ferguson? Here he is, top of the square, round the body. And if you don't mind, Ferguson's got 4 and he's got 3 in this last quarter.
Troy Harley, like he's for me, he's a big guy. He won the contested ball, no mark, and he was good enough to turn and find that Ferguson had a yard on his opponent.
He watched it unfold, didn't it? It sort of unfolded in front of me. He kicked in anticipation of what was going to happen, not what was happening, what was going to happen. And
he didn't mark the ball, he actually tapped the ball to his advantage and just a little chip kick in the goal square and a great goal there for Ferguson.
Margin now 73 points on the Harvey Norman Computers Gippsland scoreboard. 15-7-97 Wonthaggi, 3-6-24 Drouin, and Wonthaggi are 4 from 4 for the last 4 inside.
all right, so here we go now. So Wonthaggi are threatening to go forward again. Jared Blair over the top. They go on the end of this one's going to be Dawson. Dawson's kick off the boot didn't look pretty. And at the end of the day, finds the boundary line, unfortunately, albeit 35 metres from their goals.
And if you just didn't get the score there in the AFL, it was a great win for the
Harvey Norman, Gippsland scoreboard, get a PC with Windows 10 for a more powerful. You save on a HP, Lenovo and Acer today. Sorry, Boxer. Just had some microphone issues there.
So Drouin now out from defensive 50 towards that outer side. The race needs pace, and who's going to be first there? Took a bit of bulk, did Stevens. Moved the ball forward, but it wasn't as nice as he'd like, and now Wonthaggi, as they've done for most of the day through half back and through Stephen Scott, kick towards the grandstand side, but it falls into the arms of Clayton Kingy, who's got room to move. He runs 20, he kicks 50, and out the back there, Doritas can't find that player. Stevens gives it to him now. Around the body, can he have his third? He can't. Off the side of the boot, will it stay in? Out of play on the full. Wonthaggi's kick will go the way of
Riley Lindsay.
It will be indeed.
He has it grandstand side here at Wonthaggi. It's been a beautiful Saturday afternoon. And as we predicted, Wonthaggi are going to be big improvers in season 2021. In my Smoky, I did say it on the record that they'll finish top 3 this year. And I think I did pick that Jared Blair would win the medal too. As the kick goes backwards and standing on the last line, the Riley Lindsay.
We've played one game.
It's a Darryl Collins show at the moment, is it? Or I've done this, I've done that.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't want to talk about the Tigers.
Lindsay kicked it out towards Anderson, who got it further afield now. There's Bates. He took on the man on the mark and just ran away from him. He handballs over the top. Just missed Davey. Can it stay in? Because he's got a paddock in front of him. He can't keep it in.
Did someone go pick up the cup? 130 and one of them. Jeebus, mate.
Well, we got a text message through from the Leongatha president, who is actually sunbaking on the beaches in Queensland as we speak. And he says the rivalry's back. Wonthaggi, Leongatha, it's back on. And they're looking forward to fronting up against each other shortly.
When do they play each other?
Well, can't come quick enough, I think.
Wonthaggi play Leongatha next week.
Do they really?
So they won't have to wait long.
Well, it's always a big game. It'll only be the week after because Leongatha play Traralgon next week.
Oh, they do too.
Yeah.
Well, it's round 2.
It is, yeah.
They lead by 73 points to the Power. And they've got the football in their hands again is Tim Knowles on the wing area. Puts it inside forward 50. Can't quite mark it. Going back there now is Josh Schultz. Squeeze a handball to O'Connor, who couldn't quite take it the first time. Has to put some pressure on. Bursting his way through there was Blair. He lost it. There's a free kick for a leg, or tripping, or below the legs, or maybe all three. Goes towards Drouin, and it's Joe Collins.
So Joe Collins with the Wonthaggi goal is just 20 metres behind him, goes towards the outer side, goes to the coaching Kingy, but the coaching Kingy says, mate, if you're going to kick it to me, kick it properly.
And so it was my fault.
I'm not sure how, but good coach takes the blame. Buck stops with him, and it's out of play. 60 metres from Wonthaggi's goals. They lead by 12 goals won. Total of 73 points. Remember the margin at half-time was 48, so they put the pedal to the metal in the last 20 minutes at least.
So what do you do now? Do you finish your rotations and start resting blokes now, or you just
No, they need the fitness. They've got a week off next week. The split round gives them a week off, so continue to work into it. If you want some match fitness, I haven't played football in a long time. It's been a good day and a good crowd here at Wonthaggi. Great work by the Gippsland League to put this one on. As again, Bates has it, squares the footy up, comes inboard to Riley Lindsay. He can switch it again, doesn't know where to go now, so he gets back onto the right foot after he does a full 360, puts it inside forward 50. Davies at the back. He tried to claim it, but his teammate touched it first in Dawson, and he's paid the mark. Well, I thought Dawson had the first bite, and then I thought...
Put that down as a contested mark?
Yeah, absolutely. Davey had the second and third, so... Davey in the end has been rewarded the mark. He'll have a shot from goal 45 metres around. Slightish angle. The breeze has dropped off considerably, considering where it was in that second quarter. Still going across from left to right. As Tom Davey will have to start this at the left goal post. Our Spider's back.
Called in the army, I reckon.
As Davey starts it onto the left, does it come back? Not enough. Doesn't make the distance. Ball still in the play. Jack Blair roves it beautifully front and square. And there's some class, if you don't mind. Puts it through. That's Wonthaggi's 16th.
Perfect spot. He was just in the perfect spot. Numbers up in the pack. Blair held off and just used a burst of speed just to gather and kick. Drouin players were never going to stop him at that pace. And a great goal. It just continues to add to the bad afternoon.
And the afternoon's getting worse and worse as far as we go. 79-point margin now on the Harvey Norman computer scoreboard in Wonthaggi's favour. They are 16-7, 103 to Drouin, 36-24.
Ball comes back to the middle now, and we do it again. It's been a very impressive performance from the Power in this round one opener. Huther's back in the ruck. It is Huther in the ruck up against McCullum. Caught one high, and he'll win himself the free kick. So they go forward again to Wonthaggi through Thomas Huther. He's got lots of space. The forwards lead and present, and they put it on the chest of Davey out in front. Beautiful mark. He can wheel and go if he wants. And now he does. No one comes to him. Puts it into the fat side where Jack Blair's there. O'Connor was there as well. Comes to ground. Clayton Kingy was involved. Ball gets wrapped up in the tackle. The umpire will ball it up 45 metres out from goal.
Well, they haven't given it up, but
they've ran out of legs.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're fighting valiantly, but the game was probably over 60 minutes ago, in all honesty, as Kingy tries 1-2, ball goes towards the outer side. But it's been the order of the day. They just can't find teammates further down the field, and when they can, they're under pressure. And when they can't, the ball bounces back pretty quickly, doesn't it? So a dream start for Wonthaggi in front of a healthy crowd in a year that's pretty hopeful for the Power. The ball thrown back in, contesting the ruck is Toma Huda. He gets the ball to the front of the pack, nicely done by Blair, spins with the ball in his hands, but a free kick being paid to Drouin, outer side of the ground, on the wing in front of the scoreboard. Kick inside 50, yeah, just makes it there. Ground level, can they get a winner? They can't. And going away all too easily, Shannon Bray. He goes short but can't find a teammate. Good take, good kick forward. Now this could be one. Bang! Right on the teeth of Michael Theodoridis. He's kicked 2, and he'll line up for his 3rd.
He's presented well today.
He's,
under all things.
Yeah, I guess.
I think he's been the only one moving.
Yeah, but the delivery to him has been poor, pretty poor most of the day. So from 35 metres on a 45-degree angle, kicking into the teeth of a strong breeze, not so much a wind as we speak. Off the boot, looks like he's pulled it left. He has. So another minor score, Paul Carter, to the visitors today.
Which breaks a run of 5 successive goals to Wonthaggi. Drouin now 3-7-25. They still trail by 78 points on the Harvey Norman computer scoreboard. And Wonthaggi 16-7-103.
Earlier update today in the AFL, it was Sydney defeating Richmond by 45 points in the AFL. And Essendon are currently leading the Saints by 6 points. That is just in that first quarter there as we speak. And back here, as we said, 78-point margin favours Wonthaggi. As the ball is on the centre wing. Drouin have got a little bit of company here, but they get the handball out nicely to Kingy. That's Jordan Kingy, just missed his target. Robertson was able to come in, then lost the footy. Davey was there, gets away with the boot, the ball towards centre half forward it goes. Back goes Miller. He's under pressure from Blair. Did he trip him? He did. As Miller got the free kick and then got out to the near side. It's 3-on-1, Wonthaggi's way. Nicely picked up by Murray. Tried to shrug through 1 or 2 tacklers and couldn't bust through an Ed Morris one. And it was holding the ball. True centre wing on the Wonthaggi rec reserve.
So they'll go inboard through that corridor, presenting nicely and taking a good strong mark. I reckon it was Bailey Beck. Goes to within 10 metres of the goals. Can't find a winner. They haven't found a winner there for much of the day. And Wonthaggi through numbers should get themselves out of bother, or some desperate work though keeps the ball in the area.
A little bit of a scuffle again that starts to break out. The umpire will quickly break this one up. It'll be a ball up. 16-7-103 Wonthaggi. Good kicking this afternoon. Drawing a 3-7-25. Sun shining. Todd Beck took on a tackler and ran out of real estate. We'll have a boundary throw in. 24.5 minutes. We've sent Boxer. Well, we're about to send Boxer out. Welcome back, Box.
Yeah, sorry, mate.
Just had to make it cool.
Yeah, stock market.
Bookie.
The bookie rang, you owe him.
Yeah.
You've had a bad day.
Bad day.
Ball in dispute. Tackler was Jones. Going to ground was Tommy Barr. Taking Tommy Barr's stats for today.
Yeah, 12.
Yeah, he's been okay, nothing too flash. Tommy Barr's a good player for him. Need to get a little bit more of it. That's probably been the theme of the day for the Hawks. Is Jones gave up the handball now to McFan, who just kicked it high towards the top of the 50. There's a free kick being paid, and it's going to go to the big fella in Matt Stevens for the Hawks. And directly in front, should go back and get Drouin's fourth goal of the afternoon. Been few and far between for the Hawks. We're going to send Boxer down into the Wonthaggi rooms after the game. We're going to try and get... We're going to look for a Boxer.
I knew you'd do that. No, I'll try and grab the coach.
Good idea.
Grab the coach and get him up here.
Well, Matt,
You could grab the mum, have a chat about the sandwiches.
yeah, they were good too. As Matt Stevens puts through a minor score.
77-point margin in Wonthaggi's favour, deep into this final quarter. Harvey Norman computer scoreboard, 16-7-103 Wonthaggi, 3-8-26 draw.
So they bring the ball out, and they bring them out pretty easily too. They gain 45 maybe metres, and they find themselves 60 metres from Drouin's goal. So they dance around a little bit to Wonthaggi through Josh Schultz, goes towards that outer side. Losing the footing opens the door for Lockie Ferguson, who's kicked 3 of those in this quarter in a pretty scintillating effort. Goes inside forward 50, but Drouin have got the numbers there to ease the pressure, albeit momentarily. Spilling the mark and probably not judging the
well done by Blair.
And Blair picks it up nicely. Goes towards the grandstand side, in fact the left half forward of this Wonthaggi oval, and finds Mitch Hayes, who kicks to within 15 metres. Out the back, Harley got position, couldn't grab the ball, and now it's going to be Drouin through Joe Collins that goes towards the boundary line, finds it. In fact, Lockie Ferguson's tackle put him under pressure, so Lockie's been good with and without the ball. As one of the Blair boys comes off to have a rest, probably the last run for the day.
Jared been fantastic. Jared's stats today. 12.
21 disposals I've got him down for.
He's done well. We're going to send Boxer down into the rooms now. Thank the Carpet Country, helping dreams become a reality since 1981. Carpet Country. As Boxer just had to take another call.
Yeah, I'm just dealing with a couple of issues at work.
He's starting to bet on his TAB account now. It's starting to
That is untrue.
Gamble responsibly.
Very untrue.
Kingy from this stoppage dribbled one along the ground. It was picked up by Tom Murray. Hard up against it. Runs back in. Gets on his left foot. And Murray, if you don't mind, misses. That's point of the year so far.
16-8, 104, 78-point margin on the Harvey Norman computer scoreboard. Drouin sitting on 3.826.
So Drouin play on from full back has become the norm these days. Out the back should taking it easiest of marks. For Drouin, left half back flank. They go inboard now. Finds his teammate there in Campbell Jolly. Will come grandstand side as well. The kick will need to be good because he's got 3 on 1.
Oh, well done.
But he's done some good things at times today, McCallum, and that was one of them. On the end of a chain of handballs is for Drouin. McFan goes inside forward 50, but as quickly as it goes in, it comes out again, and the race is on. First player there's Jordan Kingy.
Oh, well done,
He
Harley.
gets around it. Harley applies enough pressure to make it interesting. But Drouin now, a kick through off the ground, finds Bailey Beckett, left half forward flank, dances around a player but can't beat the boundary. So boundary throw in left half forward flank. Wonthaggi 16-7, Drouin 3 goals 8. Only moments to go, you'd guess.
Yep, 28 minutes gone in this last quarter. We have had a few goals kicked all the same. Drouin kicked the first one through Bob McCullum, and then the next 5. And it was Lockie Ferguson who's kicked 3 of those 5. As Drouin get it towards the top of their 50. Fighting hard at ground level there is the Hawks, and couldn't quite get it out anywhere. It was Matt Stevens, so the umpire's going to ball this one up. Obviously a huge win for the Power first up. As Huther tapped it backwards. Working hard at ground levels, Murray. Got some toe, has Murray. Left foot kick out of defensive 50s. No one home for him, and Kingy just takes the uncontested mark of Jordan. In the wing, chips it over the top. Found a teammate there in Taylor. Swings around, drives it inside forward 50. Stevens in the front spot. One hand up. Has a second go at it. Couldn't quite get it. Knowles was there as well. And the siren sounds. Both teams are absolutely spent on a hot Saturday afternoon, but in the end, Wonthaggi have prevailed dominantly in the end. 16-8-104 have defeated Drouin 3-8-26. It's a 78-point margin in favour of the Power on really hot, tough, trying conditions on this Easter Saturday. We're going to send Boxer down into the rooms. We'll hopefully get one of the coaches, perhaps from Wonthaggi, to come up, one of their star players, thanks to Gippsland Ozuzu, and we'll see how things transpire from there. But what a day it was for the Power. Big crowd on this Saturday.